Are you trying to learn Spanish? Yeah, you are. I got a life-changing piece of advice that I'm going to give you in this video today. In 2016, I was living in Cucuta, Colombia, and I met a Colombian demon. I need to give you a little bit of background context here. Colombia is a very Catholic country. One day after school, I decided to take a trip to a lesser known part of the city. Colombia is actually divided into different sections where it's safe for foreigners to travel and unsafe. I wanted to go right on the edge and really get my feet wet and understand why some people think Colombia is so dangerous.
Why?
And on my way there, I noticed that there was this kind of shady person following me. The longer I walked, the closer I noticed that he was getting to me, and it really started to freak me out. Then, he just decided to say hello, and we started talking from there.
Sup, bro?
He was actually a devil worshiper. Yes, you heard that right. A devil worshiper, and he invited me to a seance one night. Now, this seance wasn't any type of seance. It was specifically a Haitian seance. He actually had a coven, and there were about 15 different people that would come to his house on the night of this seance. And of course, I was a little bit freaked out, but at the same time, I decided, hey, why not? I'm in a completely different country. Why not go and see what this seance is going to be? I couldn't have been more wrong, because what I found during the seance was absolutely terrifying. Because it just so turned out that on the night of the seance that they invited me to, they were actually trying to contact a sacred Haitian god called Lewa. If you're unfamiliar about what this Haitian god is supposed to do, it's supposed to be a mediator between the living and the dead. And they were going to call on him the very same night that I was supposed to go to their seance. So I get there, and the first thing I hear is all of this strange music blaring through their house. It was absolutely creepy. And I look around, and of course, they have a pentagram on the floor, and they're all wearing these very strange masks. And the person that invited me actually went into his bedroom and came back out, and he actually had a skull of a deer, like a live, living skull of a deer, and he put it on top of his head. They turned off the lights, and then they lit some candles, and they put them all around the room, and then they started to chant, and it was the creepiest chant I have ever heard. Now keep in mind, I'm hearing all of this in Spanish, not in English, so it was a very interesting situation for me, but I look around and the person that's wearing the deer skull on his head starts to shake uncontrollably. Back and forth. He's shaking back and forth like this, and he's saying this weird chant. All of a sudden, every one of the candles went out, and I hear him start speaking in a very raspy voice. I looked around to his friends and I said, why is he speaking like this? And they said, it's not him. It is our Haitian god. The weird thing about this Haitian god is he actually wanted a bunch of fruit. The moment he started chanting, the people began throwing him oranges and apples, and he was picking them up and eating them just before he ripped off his shirt and ate his own button. Yes, you heard me right. This Haitian god apparently wanted to eat buttons too. Now, all of these people told me not to be frightened when this started happening. Of course, they have gone through these seances before, and it was nothing new for them. But for me, as an outsider looking in, I was starting to get a little freaked out. The Haitian god, they said, actually had his eye on me. So, believe it or not, this person was walking towards me, getting closer to me, talking in this raspy voice, and immediately I start shaking. I'm starting to get a little bit freaked out. And then he said, told me that if I were to go across the border just into Venezuela, because I lived right on the border, that I could actually meet another demon, the Whistler. And he actually told me that that night the Whistler would come to visit me at my home. So once this seance was finishing up and I was thoroughly freaked out, I decided to go home. And you're not going to imagine when I walked up into my apartment and got into bed what I heard. So I'm laying in bed, and all of a sudden I start to hear this, and I feel a little bit uneasy. And Then I hear some weird whispering. And by now, I'm just laying in the bed, freaking out, thinking, why is this person talking to me? And why aren't they using the form of to that I would think of? And it actually left me a little bit speechless. And I started to notice more and more as I went to talk to people in Colombia that no matter where I went, people really didn't use to that much. So this is what two Colombian demons taught me about speaking Spanish. Whenever you're using to, it doesn't have to be formal. And whenever you're using usted, it doesn't have to be informal. In actuality, you can exchange these and do them however you want. And Colombia is not the only place that does this. Countries like Argentina or Bolivia or Paraguay or Uruguay, you can actually find people using a completely different form of you in Spanish. And the level of formality is really going to depend on the culture for which you are interacting with. So the next time a native Spanish speaker tells you tu is for someone informal and usted is for someone formal, you can actually stop them in the tracks and say, that's not true. That is you speaking from your cultural experiences, because in certain Spanish-speaking countries, tu and usted are completely interchangeable. So I hope this video can really help you understand the difference between tu and usted, and I really hope that you can understand that they are much more interchangeable than many native Spanish speakers would like you to believe, or actually teach you. And if you're interested in learning more Spanish from Latin America rather than Mexico or the United States, go ahead and click the link to my blog in the description, where I have written loads of stories from Latin America in Spanish, basic Spanish, so you can practice your skills through reading. All right, guys, until the next time, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.